Damian's ready to go, is he? All right, that suits me fine. Because we're going to have to look for, and that original, well, our first interview today with the Alliance vote, critical for the sheep meat industry in this country in particular, but for many provincial economies as well. But we are going to have to look for new forms of revenue in this country. We've been kept going as an economy by the agricultural sector and by the horticultural sector, viticulture to a lesser degree, but also by tourism. And if it hadn't have been for dairy and tourism in particular, God knows where this country would be, although meat has done spectacularly well in terms of commodity in the last couple of years. So the government's looking for new sources of revenue to create jobs, to create income, and one of those is mining. And as you know, Shane Jones, the Minister of Resources, I think he is, has been a strong devotee of a mining policy that rips up our ground and extracts stuff from it that the world needs, wants, and is prepared to pay significant amounts of money for. Now, Australia's economy is essentially based on its mining industry. The irony of all this is all those so-called greenies who are fleeing to Australia for better wages. It's mining, in actual fact, that's produced Australia's wealth and that allows them to offer those wages. So I've always seen the irony in that. I'm sure you do as well. But one of the more contentious ones is just down the road from me, about 30k down the road in actual fact, and that is the Terrace, at Terrace, the Santana Minerals mine in central Otago, which will get inevitably a large amount of publicity because it's almost become the cause célèbre for the environmental, the eco-greenie movement in this country as they seek to stop that gold mine going ahead under the fast track provision. I have to say, if I live in this community, there's been no polling done, so we don't really know what the community does, but it's my initial read that the closer you are to the mine, the less you are in support. The further you go from the mine, the more support there is, and that there's probably a majority of folk, but not a huge majority, but a majority of folk who think it's a good idea within the central Otago area. Nonetheless, to give us an update of it, and he has been doing so, because there have been more allegations and accusations, as you would expect, levelled at them, is the Chief Executive of Santana Minerals, and he joins us now. Thank you for joining us, Damian Spring. Lovely to have you on the show again.
No problem. Thanks, Michael.
Listen, mate, talking about allegations, I guess you are just going to have to get used to, are you not, claims and allegations from the environmental movement in this country. When these things come in, have you got a sort of, I don't know, a defensive strategy, or have you been going on the front foot to convince the community that they don't need to worry?
Oh, look, as a former coal miner living through the previous government, I'm pretty thick-skinned. So for the most part, we tend to just talk to the facts, tell our own story. And if there are particular allegations that see the light of day, that bear some truth, we track it down and try and sort it out. Now, recently there was a lot of allegations that would shut Thompson Gorge Road, blocked access to paper roads and such. It was never the case. We had put up some signs that had been up for at least a year, just to ensure that people travelling through that area know where they're allowed to travel and where they're not allowed to travel, because it's fairly open country, and that was borne out when John Perriam said on the weekend that he was warned about opening up the country to the public, but we've had that benefit all that time that he's owned that station of being able to traverse around into that area and enjoy what is there currently with the heritage values and the ecological values. So
no,
look,
well, just to explain to people who won't know what we're talking about, and that is that you've just purchased Bendigo Station, which is a large,
True.
a sort of extensive sheep, mostly I know for its wool, I think, isn't it? And it had a sort of public covenant where it allowed public access for people just to come onto it. and people have started to regard that as a right that they've had, particularly the eco a lot, and as a consequence, if you are restricting access based on the fact that you're the new owners and you don't want them going near plants and things like that, as in mechanical plants, this somehow is some great crime. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, look, the covenant still exists. People can traverse on foot from the Thompson Gorge Road to look at some of those heritage values in the Rise and Shine Valley. Um, Beyond that, it is a private sheep station still, and we have an access arrangement with the Perriam family to undertake exploration, which does include our drilling rigs and vehicle movement. So beyond,
Um, the people that are running the show, there's I think a woman, a female, a woman, can't remember her name, Suze Keith, I think her name is. She's based in Wellington and is an environmental activist based in Wellington. Then you've got a local, I think he comes from an American background, Rob Vandervark. He's the deputy chairman of that group called Sustainable Terrace. And then you've got people like Mr. Sol, I think, from the Central Otago Environment Society. Um, you're never going to convince them, are you, that this is a good idea?
um, that's up to them. We tell our own story, we tell our own facts, we do what we say we're going to do, and by our actions, they can come to their own conclusions. Now, they've been quite outspoken in their views, based on very little information. Their Google searches of the worst possible scenarios, instead of actually listening to what we've been saying to them about the high standards we're holding ourselves to. Although we haven't been able to give them all the reports, there's a lot of information that we have able to make public that they're still choosing to ignore or bend to their own anti-mining views, because I don't think they're here for the good of Central Otago or New Zealand. I think they're just here to stop any development.
Yes, I mean, mining is a dirty word all of its own, isn't it? I mean, it wouldn't matter what you were mining, quite frankly, or the scale of your operation. You would be convinced these people would be opposed.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure if it was a quarry we're proposing that supplied the aggregate needs of Central Otago, that they'd be opposing.
All right, or coal or something similar as well. Okay. Moving on, this is a fast track proposal. It's probably going to become almost the poster child of the fast track approval process. Have you lodged, you've got to go through a process where you get permission first, I think, from the minister for it to be a fast track proposal, and then it starts. Have you got that permission yet from the minister?
Yeah, so we're one of the 149 projects who are listed in Schedule 2 of the Act
Right.
itself,
So the answer to
so
that
we
question
don't
is
need to
yes.
have that referral.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
so we're very
Okay. So you've got.
close to completing our substantial application, and that's the bit that the panel then processes and makes their decision on. So we're
Okay.
very close to compiling that and getting it in.
So you've got the approval from, in this particular case, Parliament. You're one of the preferred early arrivals. You now have to provide your proposal as to what you're going to do with all the environmental safeguards, etc., etc., etc. You haven't got to that stage yet. At that stage, the EPA then announced an independent panel who will overview that particular process and test you, I guess, on the proposal that you've got. And then they will make the decision independently of both the government and obviously of yourself and the Central Otago District Council or whoever it might be as well. That means that your proposal really has to be really, really good, doesn't it? Particularly under this sort of public scrutiny already.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have to address all the regional plans, the district plan rules that we need our consents under. We've got wildlife permits to get, we've got archaeological authorities to get, and we have to have all that in one single application that is, again, managed by the EPA, but is distributed to all those regulators for them to have their input and ultimately, like you say, for the panel to make their decision on.
So that will include what your local territorial authority, which will be the Central Otago Council, will include your regional entity, which will be what the Otago Regional Council. So they'll have input into that as well. And then obviously you'll test that process in front of the independent panel. Given that that is the case, why do you think there is so much fear as to a proposal like this, given that a number of organisations have input and that there is an independent panel with some pretty clear environmental guidelines that will be deciding yay or nay?